Morning guys, let's talk about branding and spending money on things in your business to promote yourself versus what are some of the things that you actually do not need to spend money on in your business, especially in the first couple of years. Or I also want to touch on the fact that you don't actually need to spend as much money on your business on branding and marketing and websites and all the stuff that larger businesses traditionally spend a lot of money on. And I mean corporations, when you think of, larger pharmaceutical companies, clothing brands, things that you see for ads on TV, for example. And when you think about those organizations and the size of them and how many people they've got in them and how much income they make, they've probably worked their way up to be able to spend money on TV ads and spend money on business plans and spend money on websites and spend money on various other things. And it is a mistake, and if I can save you some money I will. So a mistake from the perspective that if you're working for yourself, or there's just you and you've got under 10 employees, there's a very big difference in the time that you have and the amount of money that you have to spend on such things as marketing and branding. Because what I want you to understand is that the marketing and branding that you're doing needs to be able to be tracked so that you can say, great, I acquired a client for this much money. And that's often missed. And in particular, it's missed with things like branding, and you might have spent money on branding. And look, I'm saying this because I have spent money on this stuff in, the past 20 years. So if I can save you some money, then I will. I've spent money on branding, and down to the point where you choose color swatches and what best represents my feel and my tone and the italics and the font that's on my website and blah 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 and all that stuff. Now, it's not too much blah blah blah, but I don't want you to think that it is as important as you possibly think it is, because it's not, I promise. When you look at, so I want to give you some examples. So two of my girls have had their own gyms before they started with me, and they're not like big gyms, they're just personal training studios. And they had some branding done around, the name of the studio, and it's got nothing to do with them. Now, they've launched their own VIP online program where people are going to work directly with them. One's in the field of mindset, and others in the field of just health and fitness, this VIP program that she's created. Now, because all the prior marketing has been done around the studios, they've almost had to start again, because the warm audience knows them, but the cold audience does not know them. So they have this huge cold audience that they're now marketing to, and they've had to kind of rebrand and remarket purely just under their own name, because for people to get buy-in to you as an individual, guess what? They need to see you. They don't need to see your brand. They don't need to see your business page name, which is something else, which is not you. They don't need to see your beautiful logo. They don't need to see the inside of your studio for them to have buy-in to you as a person. Now, I want to give you the complete out there version of why this is true. So if you look at my stuff, for example, and how I make videos, like I'm in my gym clothes. Sometimes I make professional videos. Sometimes I'm holding the camera without using a tripod, which is what's happening today, and my arm's getting tired. But I've obviously been doing this for a while, but in just the personal training business and the personal training coaching business, I've had over 100 of you girls through my 90-day course, which I never talk about, which is another thing to do with marketing, because I don't have a buy my thing, click button here, that kind of stuff. I'm not making this video to even tell you about that. I'm just saying, because it's kind of like exclusive invite only, because there's only me as the coach. There's not 200 people in the course or any of that. But the last couple of years I've had over 100 people through it, and it's purely because I've resonated with the majority of them like this in content. And it's a higher end course. Now, prior to that, another example is, and again, this is my own business, and I'll give you some other people's business examples. I ran a retreat in 2016, and that was the last fat loss retreat that I ran, and it was high end, and there wasn't anyone that came that was actually a fat loss client of mine. There weren't any clients out of the business that came. It was bizarre. They were people who've kind of established relationships with me outside of the gym and that have watched me and followed for years. So again, it's because of the ability to connect, which if you're a coach, you have that ability. So what I don't want you to do if you're a coach is buy into the fact that you need branding and color swatches and a lot of professional videos, because you don't need a lot, if any at all, unless they actually really know what they're doing. And I have to say, the girl that did my professional videos in the last couple of years was fantastic. Do you know why? Because she actually questioned me and did the interview process in a way that I'd never even thought of those questions that my market might want to hear the answers to. So she's a social media expert. So that was different. That's not what people normally do on professional videos, I have to say. And the professional videos don't usually end up getting people more clients. But your marketing efforts really need to come back to the fact that you're increasing your client base with whatever that is. Now, I want to talk about the difference between low end and high end. And those two girls I gave you the example of before, where they've got studios and now they've launched their own VIP program. And I have to say as well, their own VIP program is high end. So it's not something that's going to cost the client $50 a week, like group personal training sessions would, for example. Now, they've gone into that and they're doing it without any branding, as in around themselves as a person. Okay, they might have a professional photo done for their business page, but there's no color swatches that have been chosen. There's no full marketing campaign. There's no website that's been built by a professional. There's just very, very simple things that we've done. But the most important thing for you to do as somebody who's launching anything, just like what these girls have done, is to actually nail your message and the communication that you have with your potential clients, because it's in the message and the communication with the potential clients that has the person go, yes, I need to work with you. And I can show you screenshots. I can't because it's quite personal, but some of my girls have been getting messages, private messages from people, because their message works so well at resonating with a potential client that the clients inbox them and say, I need to work with you. And that doesn't come from a pretty color swatch in your branding or a nice website or even throwing money into ads. It comes from potentially the very small audience that you've got and you understanding how to market yourself and how to communicate with your client. That's what it comes from. And I can tell you now from speaking to lots of people, that is the biggest hole in a lot of people's advertising. If you want to have a look at what I'm talking about, there's another video I made on why posting pictures of food and pictures of you exercising or anybody else in your gym exercising, why that stuff doesn't work. Because, I mean, you know yourself, like, do you scroll past that? You probably do, because it used to be relevant 10 years ago when social media kind of started. It was relevant and it was good then and it was interesting. But it's not anymore. It hasn't been interesting for like at least 5 years. So you're not going to get any further in your business if you just keep posting pictures of exercise and or food. You have to make it interesting, I guess, to read, or interesting to listen to, or helpful, and or there's a whole list that I've given that you actually need to make, and I will post the link to that video here if you want. Make sure you're in my free group for coaches that goes through this kind of content that you actually do need, and I do talk in that group about the things that you just need to worry about in regards to, one, bringing on more clients for your gym, but I'm also, more importantly, about teaching all coaches to sell things at the high end as well as have things at the low end. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a VIP online program, it can be anything. But if you don't resonate with people's and help get your message across and you don't understand marketing, you won't resonate and no one will buy your stuff, and that's why they're not buying your stuff. So if they're not messaging your business page and asking to work with you, then there's a disconnect in your messaging. You can pretty much guarantee that. It's not because you don't have a brilliant website, because a brilliant website does matter. Does absolutely nothing, as usual. If you've got any questions about that, or you'd like me to have a look at your website or your social media pages or any of that stuff, I will be able to tell you in a few sentences what you're missing and why your message is disconnected or not even resonating with people, just message me and tell me who it is you serve, and then send me the links to the pages and stuff, and I can have a look and tell you if and why there's a gap and what you probably need to do. Otherwise, make sure you're in my group for coaches. There's a lot of amazing free information in there. I'll put the link above this video to that group. And one other thing, if you're actually in the Melbourne area, myself and the girl who did my professional videos, she's amazing at social media, are running a half-day workshop on April the 5th. I will also put that link above this if that's relevant to you. I would love to be able to work with you for 3 hours. We will actually make some content. You will learn how to get your message to resonate, and we will do professional filming on the day, and you'll walk away with some videos. And it's all for less than $100. It's an amazing price. So get in for that, because there's only limited spaces available, obviously, but we can only fit so many people in the room. I would love to see you there. You need to learn how to get your message to resonate so that you can earn the income that you deserve, especially if you're an experienced coach and you know what you're doing with people's bodies. All right, stop putting up with mediocre and, bad income. Talk to you soon.